just get renewed myself before I got back to work. I almost feel guilty that I relaxed so much. So
No, that's a good thing. Same here. I had a lot of time off with the family, enjoyed it, and now I'm ready to get back to work. So it's part of New Year's. People have New Year's resolutions and things like that. Any New Year resolutions that you have for 2019?
yeah, I do. Actually, I want to put more emphasis on learning Spanish. I tell myself that every year. So this year, I actually posted on my IG that I wanted to learn. So I'm gonna put it out there so my followers can hold me to it. I want to make sure that
It's
I want to
about
make sure that
accountability, right?
yeah, exactly. So I mean, they see me post a lot of workout videos and stuff like that,
Right.
but nothing like this. So I kind of want to switch it up, do some stuff that they will be able to hold me more accountable. So Spanish, I want to be able to, I want to volunteer at least somewhere once a month,
Right.
as well as begin to eat better, because for the last year or so I didn't eat as many greens as I should eat. So this year it's going to be a focus on that. So those are some of my New Year's resolutions.
No, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, for the people who are watching, if you have any New Year's resolutions, please type those in the chat too and share those. Mine personally is to read more. Last year, I think I completed about 19 books. I want to try to double that this year. I switched positions. I moved a lot of things last year, but this year, I think I'm like you, Michael. I want to focus more on overall health, probably eating more greens as well. I'm in my 30s now. I want to get lean and mean like yourself. I want to work out more. I do work out, but I want to hold myself to a consistent at least 4 days a week. And last thing but not least is, for the first month of January, me and my wife are going on a complete detox. So no alcohol
Oh,
and none of that, no sugar, none of that bad stuff going into our bodies. So that's kind of what we're doing for our New Year's. So for the folks that are in the chat, let me introduce Michael, and then I'll have Michael introduce himself. But Michael, as I mentioned, Michael and I went to school together at Georgia Tech. He has a bachelor's in business and marketing from the University of Oklahoma. You can see the OU behind him. He's a graduate from Georgia Tech. He's a business banker 3 at Chase. And this is a little bit about his bio. He's a strategic, I got to get my words right, and performance focused leader with 15 plus years of progressive sales and management experience, with strong banking expertise and an ability to leverage business relationships to exceed objectives. His track record reveals a consistent history of mentoring, motivating, and leading diverse teams to successfully accomplish pertinent goals. So that's a bit about Michael. Michael, is there anything else that I'm missing that you want to let the fans in the chat know about you?
everything. That's
All right. All right, man. Well, let's jump into this. So, as I mentioned, the theme is hard work and professionalism. Mike, tell everyone where you're from and how you grew up. Can you hear me?
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes, that's a lot better. Can you?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So it's a town of about
yeah. So tell everyone how you grew up and where you're from.
yeah. I'm from Idabel, Oklahoma, a
Yeah.
town in the southeastern corner of Oklahoma. Um, Grew up. I was raised out in the country, actually, dirt roads. Um, my dad was a farmer. He did farm work. My mother, she worked she worked as a cook.
Hmm.
So I was raised by blue collar, strong family. I am the youngest of seven.
Yep.
So as you can see, I grew up with a big family, with a hard work ethic. So it's kind of how it's where I'm from.
Cool, man. So you sounds like you grew up from a big family. and you're from a
Right.
big family, and you know, talk about what hard work means to your family. Obviously, you're one of, you said seven, right?
Right.
That's a large family,
Mhm.
especially in today's world. So talk about what hard work means, and with the stuff that you had to do when you were growing up, that just signifies hard work.
Well, growing up, again, growing up out in the country, we had animals, we had pigs, horses, chickens, cows. So, when you think of a small farm or, someone out in the country, that was me. So, that meant hard work meant getting up in the morning,
Yep.
going to feed the pigs, the chickens, doing stuff like that. I mean, it's definitely totally different from what you would see here in Atlanta.
Right.
So uh, even my grandmother lived next door. We had wood heaters, so you had to go out and bust wood. I used to have to go cut wood with my uncles,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I did a lot of manual labor growing up. So
Wow.
you couldn't be lazy. Where I grew up at, you had to definitely chip in and do your part.
Awesome. Awesome. No, that's absolutely hard work. That's not how I grew up, Michael. But that's kind of how my uncles and my mother grew up. So that is certainly some of the things that they did when they were younger and things like that. And education is something that you have. Obviously, the University of Oklahoma. You have your MBA from Georgia Tech. Talk about how important education was in your family. You grew up with a family of seven. How important was education to you and your family?
Well, it's very important because, as you can see, growing up, my family was blue collar.
Hmm.
They did a lot of manual labor type work. And as for me, I knew growing up that I didn't want to continue to do that type of work.
Mm.
I didn't foresee myself as an adult doing that. You know, feeding the pigs. Just doing manual heavy labor. So, for me, I said it's a bigger world out there. So, um, and my way out of that was to make good grades and and the education, it gave me an opportunity to learn about different things, to meet different people,
Mm.
which in tune it gave me an idea of what it is that I wanted to do. And
Right.
I already know what I didn't want to do going forward. I didn't want to continue to do that type of work, because it was hard. So
Yes.
I wanted to work with my mind rather than my hands. So I said, well, if I got to sit in the classroom, make good grades, do what I'm told, and they say this will get you out of the situation, that's exactly what I did. So
Awesome. Awesome. And education was important to your family.
mhm.
And that led to you going to college. Talk about you going to University of Oklahoma. What were the steps that you took to obviously get into school, and the hard work that you put in to uh, you know play sports, because you played sports, you ran track, you played football as well. Talk about the work that you had to put in order for you to become a great student athlete. Not only that, but to also graduate university.
Right. Well, the thing was, growing up, when you grow up in an environment like that,
Hmm.
you do the manual labor, help out around the house, do your chores and stuff like that. Um, that that kind of coincides with that hard work ethic. And for me, I found out that along the way that I was good in sports, I could run,
Mm.
and I think me working hard, uh, growing up, I think that helped me be a better athlete because, for one, in order to endure some of the practices and some of the pains that comes with being an athlete, you have to have good work ethic. You have to be strong willed.
Mm.
So I feel like that growing up that way made me strong willed. So I was able to run those races that nobody wanted to run, races that took gut, races that most people would quit. But I
Mm,
didn't quit because of the type of stuff that I did before. I could really exercise that mind over matter.
mm, mm.
So, with that being said, I was able to excel in track in the 400 meters in particular. And I already made good grades, so my grades were good. And now I find out that I'm good in track
Right,
and field.
right.
So that began to pave my way to the University of Oklahoma. And along the way, my first love was football.
Yeah.
Where I grew up at in a small town, again, you hear about the Friday night lights and everything. The whole town shuts down and comes to the football game. So I wanted to be that football player, and I wanted to, make it out that way. I wanted to buy mom a big house and all that stuff. But, I had to pump my brakes because, I wasn't getting the playing time in football.
Mm,
I wasn't
mm.
getting the publicity. Mines came in track and field. I was known as the guy that was fast in track, and I
Yep.
was known as one of the smart kids. So I had to leverage those and to get into school, and that's kind of how I ended up at the University of Oklahoma. I had a partial track scholarship and a partial academic scholarship, but I always wanted to play football, so I just kind of leveraged that,
Hmm.
uh, the track and field and academics to get to the University of Oklahoma. And once I got there, began to meet interesting people that didn't grow up the way I grew up. I
Yep.
found out that it was a different world out there. People came from the suburbs, New York. Um, when they hear my accent, they say I talk funny. So you begin to build those relationships with those people, and then life begins to take off for you. So,
Yep. 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 Yeah. Obviously, coming from a small town in Oklahoma and then going to a big time university such as University or Oklahoma OU. Yeah, that must have been a huge change for you. And not only that, seeing people from other parts of the world, because I mean, that's a
right,
school that pulls in kids from all over the world, right? And it's a really good school. So, obviously, you got yourself a track scholarship. You're a
hmm
smart kid. You got yourself an academic scholarship. You posted a Facebook post a couple of days ago, and I thought it was absolutely inspiring. And it was about you not playing football, something that you touched upon earlier.
right,
And well, you did play football. Let me clarify that. But although football was your love, you didn't get a lot of playing time. Well, you end up playing for Oklahoma. You were a
right.
student, and the post was about the hard work that you put in to become a football player. So tell the people that didn't get a chance to hear that story about the hard work you put in to become a college football player at an elite football university. Talk about that.
Well, first of all, it started when I was a young boy wanting to go there. So
Mm,
it was a dream of mine to want to go to that school, because in Oklahoma, it's the school,
yep.
to go to. And how do you get there? Uh, you get there by these coaches recruiting you. But if
Mm,
they're not recruiting your town, if you're not the star player on the team, um, pretty much you're not going to make it.
right.
But
Right.
one of the things I never did, I always knew I could play. I just never got the opportunities that I should have gotten, that I
Mm,
felt that I should have gotten. So I never stopped believing in myself. I always told myself that if I get the opportunity that the other guys get, then, I can prove to them, and prove to the world that, Michael Jackson can play.
yep.
I know I had the tools to do it. I was fast. I had began to grow. I was tall,
Hmm.
um, and plus I worked hard. Nobody was going to outwork me, and everybody that knew me and knew of me knew that nobody's going to outwork me in the classroom at the time. and I equate to being smart is like for me, smart and intelligent. I was a guy that if it's there, if you tell me it's in the book or whatever, to me it's easy. I mean, there's no if it's in the book and all I got to do is read the book, shut up, keep my mouth, don't disrupt the class, and then I get good grades by just putting down what I read, on your test,
Right.
then there's no problem.
Yep.
So with that attitude, uh, I get to Oklahoma. First off, I had a commitment to myself is to prove because most people from my hometown they go to the smaller Division one AA schools or whatever. I had to prove to myself that I belonged in those classrooms
Hmm.
because you go from a small school. We had, I believe it was like 135 students graduate in my senior class. So you go from that to being 200, 300 people in one class. So you just another number. So I
Yep.
had to prove to myself that I belonged there. I could
Mm.
do the workload. Being in a business school, some of those concepts, different terminology, that wasn't the language that I spoke.
Yep.
Uh, I had to, you know, uh, relearn a whole another language.
Yep.
Also, I made a commitment to the track team that, to the track coach that I could run at that level. Coming from my hometown, you have those naysayers that say that you don't belong on that type of program and that type of level. So, for the next 4 years, I had committed myself to my obligations. That's one, getting a degree, and two, you know, paying dividends for my to my track coach who gave me the track scholarship.
Mm.
So I did that, and then my last year, it became my opportunity. The program had brought in a new coach, which was Bob Stoops,
Yep.
and I say, if I'm going to be able to do it, the time is now because otherwise I'll forever hate myself if I didn't.
Yep.
And I talked to Bob Stoops, to the recruiting coordinator, was very nervous about it, about coming out, and they told me they was like, walking on to a program like this is very tough, and most walk-ons don't make it because you're not going to get the reps. For one, you have to do something that's pretty extraordinary to catch their attention.
Hmm.
So what I did was I went out and I just outworked everybody. I switched because I didn't play receiver in high school. I played cornerback, and trying to learn their defense in a year's time is not going to happen. So I said, you know what, I can run, I can catch. So receiver would be the best way. So I just went out and worked hard at receiver. Wowed some people, caught some attention, and in order for people who know football and know Division I football, know that you can't be on any other scholarship and
Hmm.
go play one down in football because it was the old rule back in Alabama. I think Barry Bryant had like a whole wrestling team full of scholarships, but didn't have no wrestlers. So they had to, in order for me to play one series, one play, I had to be on full scholarship. So that was another problem. It's like, are you worth enough to us to put you on full scholarship just for you to be on the team? So I was able to earn that trust through hard work, just being a leader amongst the men out there. And Bob Stoops awarded me. It was his first. Actually, I was the first walk on. Me and a guy by the name of Chris Hammonds to get a scholarship
Wow.
from Bob. So I
Wow.
did accomplish all of that in 1 year, and switching a total different position and learning all that. And I contribute that to the way I was brought up, being able to tolerate so much adversity, just having a strong mind and believing in yourself and betting on yourself. So
Mm.
that's and that was a big accomplishment to me because it was special because I was able to fight through all of the people who doubted, who said you couldn't, and for that was big, and also it was big for the kids who come up behind me
Yep.
to know that somebody from this situation can go and excel, and somebody they know that's just like them that can go and excel,
Mm.
and they know people who know me know that I did it by hard work. It was nothing. There were some people in place that encouraged, but it was nothing given to me. It was,
Right.
you had to work for it. So it
No,
was sweet.
that's a wonderful story, Michael. Going running track, then getting an opportunity to walk onto a football team.
Mhm.
You haven't been in football for years, right?
Right.
And you became a receiver for one of the winningest coach in college football. And not
Right.
only that, one of his first scholarships that he gave to an actual walker, and that's actually amazing. So, talk about, people talk about hard work all the time. Obviously, you grew up with a large family, and you had a lot of responsibilities, right? That's what I
Right.
think about, hard work as well as having responsibilities and being able to accomplish or do those responsibilities, right? And typically, it's more than others. But what does hard work mean to you, right? Because you have people, especially on social media, that talks about hard work and um, what is the other term that they're saying, hustle and all this other stuff, right? And what does hard work mean to you, Michael? Is it having responsibilities and owning up to it, which in my case, that's exactly what hard work is. But it's going the extra mile for me as well. Putting in extra hours of doing things and sacrificing yourself to get better at something. Talk about, in your world, or your definition, what is hard work to you?
Well, it's just exactly what you said. Hard work is doing the things that nobody else wants to do,
Mm,
that
mm,
nobody's willing to do. I mean, everybody wants the prize. Everybody wants to be number one, but nobody wants to do what it takes to
mm,
get to be number one. Whether that's develop your skills, whether that's sacrificing. If you're in the academia world, if you're in college and all your friends are going out to this party or whatever. I mean, are you willing to stay home, stay back, and get that studying done, to study that extra for that test? Are you willing to deal with the scrutiny of being called, as they say back in college, being called lame? Are
mm,
you
mm.
Can you deal with all that? Can you deal with the peer pressure um, of not being what they say normal? Because I think sometimes hard work it puts you in a zone to where people kind of think that you're weird, because you kind of cut yourself off from what they consider the norm. So hard work is pushing yourself to do things that you know most people don't want to do. I
Yep.
mean, that's why I'm a big advocate of sports, a big advocate of the gym, because all of those concepts and everything, it all rolls in together, it rolls into life because you have to push yourself,
Yep.
in order to, if you want to look like, whoever it is you idolize or whatever, that's fit. You got to go in and if you work a job that's 8 9 hours, you got to get in there early or you got to
Yep.
get in there late. And who
Mm,
wants to do that?
yep.
you know, um, at your job, if it's something that you need to know, and we all have it at our job. Sometimes people don't want to show you stuff. You know, are you willing to set aside some time late at night or whatever to learn what it is that you need to learn? So hard work to me is all about sacrificing and just being able to have thick skin and just having endurance.
Mm, mm.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's always been about for me. It ain't never been about who's the most intelligent, who's the strongest. It's who can last.
Yeah.
Who's willing to put in that time, and
Mm,
it's the same concept across whatever it is you do.
mm. No, that's a great message, Michael. You're right. It's about the sacrifice, the focus, the pushing yourself. Having no excuses, being the last one standing, or at least trying to be the last one standing. I wholeheartedly agree that that's the true definition of hard work. I know you as an ultimate professional. In school, Michael basically dressed in a suit every single weekend. He was always sharp. Always was tailored. You can certainly tell that he takes care of his body. You're lean. I saw a couple, pictures on Facebook, and you're looking like you're at about, 4% body fat. Talk about professionalism. I'm going to switch, right, because the theme was on hard work and professionalism. Um, what does being a professional mean to you? I know obviously it's about how you dress and things like that, but give me your definition of what being a professional is to you.
Well, for me, for being a professional, even from the dress part, um, is about looking the part.
Mm,
You know, so whatever it is you do, you need to look the part
mm,
first, because that's what people see. They see you first.
yeah.
So that's part of the battle.
Hmm.
So if you look good, and being in sales, if you look good and neat, it takes away from, you don't want to be a distraction.
Hmm.
So when someone see me, I don't want to be a distraction. Why, they say, well, he looks sloppy, or you know, and there's no knock against someone, or maybe his suit is hanging on his knuckles, or whatever. I don't want that. I want you to hear my message.
Yeah.
You know, and in particular, I learned better. I learned from college when I was back in undergrad. I would wear sweats to class.
Mm,
And I was in the business class. I wore sweats every day. So you became titled as a jock, or
mm,
you just in here. And so I didn't want that. So going into the professional world, in particular when I went to Georgia Tech, I wanted to dress the part. I wanted to dress in the roles that I wanted
mm,
to have.
mm,
So,
mm,
and that's what professionalism. That's what it means to me, and just overall respect. I
mm,
mean, to give people respect from all walks of life. No matter, for me, I always try to, no matter who I'm talking to, whether I'm talking to a bum on the street corner or a CEO of a company, I always try to understand who they are, and I try to be present, in that moment.
yeah.
Because I get it from some people. They've told me, I said, well, man, you can talk to different people or whatever, and you can switch different conversations. You must be kind of fake. And for me, I like people and I respect people. And to me, it's not being fake. It's me being in that moment. Whether you want to, I guess you can contribute it to having a family of seven. Because all my brothers and sisters, they're interested in different things. So
Right.
I like to be able to go on different levels. If you want to talk about farm stuff, you want to talk about, corporate America,
Mm,
I can go either way. So to me, being professional is respecting people. And also, if you're going to be in corporate America, look the part,
mm,
you know.
mm, mm.
So, and
No, that's very important. You're absolutely right. Right. I
yeah, look
think
the part.
I think that's one of the biggest messages, and one of the things that I teach today is professionalism, especially to people that I mentor, is you have to look the part.
Right,
There's so many other distractions in the world today with people all over, right? But if you look the part for a position that you want, you are doing yourself a service. And not only that, you are, it's kind of like the same exact thing that when people do when they meet their wife's father for the first time, especially men, right? They want to come off very professional, polished, and respectful. And that's what professionalism is. But that's not just for a single instance of meeting a parent, it's all the time. You
right,
want to carry yourself how, and you should carry yourself how you want people to perceive you. So if you want to be perceived as a professional, you have to carry yourself as a professional. If you want to
right,
be perceived as a jock, you're going to be wearing sweatpants, like you said in your class, right? And unfortunately, that's what our world is. We have these labels, but we have a lot to do with the labels that people put on us just by the way how we carry ourselves. And I think that's what professionalism is.
And and my thing is always control the controllable. So that's one
Yes.
thing that I can control. When I get up in the morning, I can control how I go out into the world and what the world sees. So, and I'm going to control that.
No, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Right. And I think people across the world can control that. And that's, you're absolutely right. Right. It's I hear a lot of the times that, there's a lot of complaints about, I missed out on this opportunity. Well, if you were to kind of look at yourself in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
really look
Right.
at yourself in the mirror. I think that's what it is. It's, not anybody else's fault. It may be your level of professionalism. And I think that is something that everybody can improve to increase their chances at success in life. So we got some people in the chat. Miss Tiffany Wade, Miss Tamara Wade, and Mr. Clark Wade is in the house. Tamara
Yeah.
Wade left a comment and said, "Be the hardest worker in the room." Absolutely, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. Is try to be the hardest worker in the room. You have people who just push it, right? And if you're not the smartest in the room, at least try to be the most hardworking in the room, and people are going to see that. People can see people who work hard. They look at that as leadership. They look at that as something that is contagious, and
Right.
people want to be around people who work hard. So let's talk about another question I have in here, and it's about success. Right? What does success mean to you, Michael?
For me, in particular, is being happy. Being happy doing what I'm doing. Having that why to get up every day and being able to take care of. I have a 8-year-old daughter. Being able to provide for her a good a good life for her, and just being able to be healthy, have good relationships with friends, just be in a good space. That's kind of what success. That's what it means for me. To be able to go out and just not have no worries about things that I can't control. So
No,
because I
that's
feel like if it's something that you can control and you're not doing it, then you won't feel very successful because you're not getting those wins that you should be getting, or you feel like you should be getting. So, I think for me, I've gotten some wins, and I feel when I go back and take inventory, it's like what, with the hand you were dealt, you ain't did too bad. So,
no, that's absolutely right. That is absolutely right, Michael. You know, of course, and I had to ask that question because I think everybody's definition of success is something different, right? But I like to get people's perspective. For some people, it's about having a great family, having a home, having money, and all this other stuff. But like you said, you're right. It has to be the why, right? And if you have a why and a purpose in life, and you find that, that is the ultimate success, right? We have a question in the chat from Miss Tiffany Way, and she said, "You mentioned that you did not let the noise of others distract you from your goals, whether it was attending OU or playing college football. Has there ever been a moment where you let negativity or distraction of others get to you?"
yeah, I mean, I can't sit here and say that stuff doesn't get to me, but what I do, I try to put things in place to help push that back out because I'm human. It creeps in. I hear the noise, um, and I have to go and renew myself. And for me, you know, I did that through going to church and talking to people who have done it, or so that's kind of what I renewed myself through that. So yeah, when the negativity starts to creep in, I seek those outlets, church, because typically I go and I hear something, and it'll just be so profound, and it'll give me that renewed focus, and go right back to who I am. I'm kind of stubborn to the point to where I'm almost like a narcissistic when it comes to, believing in myself. So you're not going to knock me all the way off the square.
Yep.
So I'll be like, it might be a little quiet murmur, but I'm like, I can still do that. That's the, like, that's who I am. Or I'll find a reason why, or whatever. So yeah, it gets to me, but you got to have, and me personally, I have those outlets, whether it's a friend, and I like to laugh and make, humor about stuff, even when stuff is going bad, it just kind of helped me because if you can laugh about it, you'll realize it's not that big of a deal. We make things bigger than what it is in the grand scheme of things. It's not. Me listening to my daughter now talking about stuff that she swears is a big deal, and I'm just like, but and that's most things are not big deal, but you just got to have those outlets.
No, that's great. Um, and Tiffany, I hope that answered your question. We didn't touch on this piece of it yet, Michael. Talk about your profession, right? You are a business banker at
Right.
Chase.
Hmm.
Talk about, you getting to the banking profession, what led you there, how the experience has been, and things like that for some of the viewers who may be going into banking or wanting to get into banking and want to know, how to get into that industry.
Right. Well, for me, I wanted to. My first dream, I wanted to play professional football
Mm,
so I could make a lot of money.
yeah,
Right. So once I seen that I wasn't going to realize that, I was like, what is it that I can do that requires, the least amount of physical labor and more of your brain and make a lot of money?
yep,
And finance, finance, banking, um, that's what came to the top, sales.
yep,
And I had an opportunity to um, work for a subprime mortgage company, Wells Fargo Financial. I got my start, and it allowed me to learn about credit, learn about equity in homes, uh, learn about refinancing, home purchases, small loans, consolidating debt. So along that way, um, I seen there were other opportunities that I could do for customers, but because I was only on that platform with dealing with homes, mortgages or whatever, I was very limited. And again, along the way, you're working in where you're working at, and then you start to build a relationship with some of your coworkers. And as they begin to leave and take other opportunities, and when you're young, your first job, the second job is a building block to get to the next level.
yep,
So few of my coworkers, they went on over to the bank because the bank said, hey, you know, this Wells Fargo Financial has some talent over there, and they're training these employees over there, and we can go and poach them. These employees, they understand how to sell, and and what they're selling is hard stuff. So what we got, if they can sell that, they can definitely come to the bank and sell. So the
yep,
opportunity for me opened up. That a friend of mine said, hey man, you can come over to the bank, and now you don't have to sell those bad rates, those subprime mortgages. You can come over here and sell and give the clients the best rates, as well as you can talk about savings, investing. You can pretty much open up the umbrella and go into many different financial avenues that you can help
yep,
people. And I've always been a person that wanted to help.
yep,
So, um, so went to the bank, and at the bank you can make a lot of money if you're good at what you do, and as well as help people. So you're not, everything I did was something that my customers could benefit from. I didn't go to bed, I didn't go to sleep at night, uh, questioning myself. And at
yep,
the end of the month when I got those commission checks, it was fun, and it just kind of went from there. I enjoy doing what I'm doing.
yep, yep. No, that's wonderful. Finance is certainly an area that folks can study. I tell people this all the time when, I'm mentoring people or giving advice for the younger generation that is coming up, going to university or just getting ready to come out, is, focus on the most critical parts of a business. This is also, telling them about STEM and the science and technology, engineering and math, but the five critical parts of a business is, finance, sales, operations. You also have, marketing and the product research area. If you gain skills in those areas, you're going to always be employed, right? And I think, some of those fields make a lot more money than the others. And I can tell you that right now because, I spent the majority of my life on the operations side, and now I'm finally getting to the point where I'm in sales now. And I'm like, wow, why didn't I choose this path before?
It's very lucrative. It has its ups and downs, but if
Yes.
you want to make money, sales, for me, sales has been it's allowed me to provide a good living for myself.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So I wanted to get your thoughts on the Black Heights Initiative, right? Obviously, what I'm looking to do is, training, coaching, and providing exposure to, African Americans to increase, management and leadership positions, around the world. And I started this initiative last year, and this
Okay.
is really the second month of me doing podcasts, trying to get the exposure out there. And we have quite a bit of folks who are subscribed to the podcast and to our newsletters. What are your thoughts on, the Black Heights Initiative?
I definitely think it's great that you want to take your time out and give back,
Mm,
because a lot of people, once they make it, they're not interested in helping other people.
mm,
So if you got the formula and you understand, uh, what uh, what we're missing, and you got the answers to the test, I think it's excellent that you are taking your time because you don't have to. You're off work now. You
yeah,
don't have to be, doing this type of stuff. So I think it's big because it's huge. It's needed out there, because the more diverse, these companies are, the better they are.
yeah,
When we had the opportunity to go to China and Brazil on those trips,
yeah,
I've been to Mexico and different places, and most of those societies are just one race of people.
yeah,
And it clicked to me why America is so great is because we're diverse, and it's one
yes,
of the things that we fight against. But
yeah,
diversity is good because your ideal and my ideal, and once we sit there and we go back and forth and sharpen some iron or whatever, then the finished product is going to be the best.
mm,
And,
mm,
and I think what you're doing is awesome because you are, you're just going to make corporations much better, and you're gonna ease the you you're just going to help level the playing field.
yeah.
So I think the initiative that you guys are doing, and I want to see it be successful, um, because I think it's needed.
Well, and thank you so much, Michael, for your support and also coming to the platform and, for the users out there, right? And um, there were some eye-opening statistics when I, founded the company. And those statistics were things like there were only 15 African American CEOs in the history of the Fortune 500. I said, wow, why? And, African American men and women, account for only 4.7% of the executive team in the Fortune 100, right? Um, the percentage of African Americans in management is on a decline. At one point in time, I believe in 2004, looking at the Equal Employment Opportunity Center statistics, it was at about 6.4% or 6.8, and that has started to trend down, right?
Mhm.
And there's going to be a lot of positions opening up in the future. And one of the areas that you're going to have a lot of jobs in is management and leadership, right? So why not focus on developing those skills to
Right.
increase your opportunities to become a manager and a leader for organizations, especially if you're going to be working in corporate America. So that's what we provide, right? The situational leadership training, the management training, as well as the coaching and exposure to executives, to people like yourself who are relatable, and that can provide some advice to a younger generation. So, talk about diversity. You mentioned that, right? We talked about, we've seen that diverse companies, at least companies with a diverse board. There was a study out there by McKinsey that said they did better in inline profit than companies that didn't have diverse boards. What's your definition of diversity, Michael? What does diversity mean to you?
Diversity for me is not just skin color,
Mm-hmm.
but it's diversity of thought.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can be the same skin color and you think the same as the majority. To me, that's not diversity.
Mm-hmm.
That's you just got somebody that's colored that color,
Mm-hmm.
but you got the same person.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, diversity is having some people with different cultures, different backgrounds, and they're not afraid to talk about their ideas. And it's not a hostile environment to where if they do talk about their ideas, they're going to be, frowned upon or, ostracized or something, So
Yep.
that's what diversity is for me. Just being able to be different. I mean, be smart and be on task, but there are different ways to accomplish things. Like me, I grew up different than some people, but I sound different, but it
Yep.
doesn't mean I'm stupid. It doesn't mean that you know that my brain doesn't function, but I have my way of thinking, and I can add something. If you just be quiet, and let me speak for 5 minutes or whatever,
Yep.
you might learn something. And as well as if I be quiet and hear you out, I might learn something and we put it together. So diversity is just being able to have a diversity of thought, culture, and not just skin color. Because
Yeah.
again, you can be the same skin color and you ain't diverse. They just found one.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, and it's funny that you said that because I believe Curtis is one of the ones who said that. David Evans, Tiffany Chambers is one that really talked about the thought piece of it. It's not anything to do with race. It has a lot to do with cultures and just a different way of thinking and different people's different exposures, and it's across gender and things like that too. So, no, great answer, Michael. So, we're getting towards the end of the session. Let's talk about how you balance your work life, staying healthy, staying lean. Like I said, the pictures that you had on Facebook, you got to be at 4.7% body fat and and enjoying time with the family. Obviously, you have a daughter as well. So how do you balance that, Michael?
Well, for me, and people who know me know I put a lot on athletics, being on a team. For one, it helped me with time management. Two, it also helped me with diversity because most of my teams that I've been on, it was different people who didn't look like me or didn't come from. Um, so you got time management and you got your team. Um, so for me, when hold on, repeat that question again.
No, it was more of what how do you balance, right? How do you
Okay. So
balance
yeah, yeah, yeah,
between
yeah.
your
Okay.
personal and work and family and being healthy? Because it's one of the hardest things that we do today, right? Is we have so many things and juggling so many balls. It's really about finding the way that works for you. But how do you do it, Michael?
Yeah. So for me, that balance again, you have to have time management.
Hmm.
For me, I know that I can't work out during the day because that's the time for me to give the chase.
Mm.
So in order for me to do that, um, to get my workout in, because I'm 40, 42. Well, I'll be 42 next month. So I have to get up in the morning before everything starts,
Mm.
before
Mm.
people start calling me.
Yeah.
So that's my time. That's my time to go into the gym and work out because I want to keep my body in shape. I want to keep myself healthy so I can enjoy getting older. I
Yeah.
can enjoy the income and stuff like that. But again, it comes from time management, and
Mm.
then you go from there and you go to work, and then when you get off work, if my daughter's with me or whatever, then I have to block out the work for because that's her time.
Yep.
So you can fit it all in, but you have to have a schedule
Mm.
and you have to stick to that schedule and you have to know the importance because for me, the most important things in life for me is the relationships that I build, relationships with my daughter, relationships with my friends. Work is something that I do to make money to be able to enhance those type of relationships. So I keep all that stuff in perspective.
Mm.
Uh, money, I'm not a yeah, I want to make a lot of money, but money is something that allows me to buy back the freedom, the times, and stuff like that. So,
Mm.
with that in perspective, I understand that I can make a lot of money, but if I'm unhealthy because I didn't go and get my exercise in because I've been sitting at a desk too long,
Yeah.
or because I'm eating in the cafeteria in the building or whatever, and I don't go and work that off or watch what I eat whatever, then that can affect me. That can affect my daughter. That can affect my brothers. That can affect so many different people
Yep. Yep.
just by me not being conscious and just intentional about what it is I do. Because it's
Yep.
just not me. I'm one person, and so many people are attached to me. So it's my responsibility to manage my time and just be. Sometimes people will be like, man, some people's like, man, you hard to catch up with, man, on a tight schedule. But I got
Yep.
what's important, that comes. I got to take care of that first, and then
Right.
as I get free time, then I can branch out. So yeah,
Mm. Time management. That's the key to it, right? But
because
not
you got
only
to have it.
that.
You can't just be too heavy in one area. So,
Yes.
and I learned that. I learned that early.
Yep. Yep. It's Michael. When I think about balance, you're right. It's about time management. It's about the sacrifice. It's about scheduling things, but it's also about priority, right? Knowing what your priorities are in your
Right.
life. What's the most important things that you want to give your time to, right? There's all these pulls from different parts of life that can consume you. And,
Right.
it's about putting and knowing what your priorities should be. It's your daughter. It's working out and being healthy. It's making money so that you can spend additional time with your family and do the things that are exciting and fun. Those are all, part of that balance. No, I thought that was a great answer, Michael. So, for anyone watching the video, right? Anyone who jumps into the stream, and they, watch it and want to understand what we're talking about. What are three takeaways that you want to share about this podcast with individuals who are going to watch it, or somebody who's watching it now who comes into the stream late? What are three takeaways? And I asked this to every one of my guests that I bring onto the podcast, so that we can reiterate what the most important parts of this conversation was. What are three takeaways that you want to share with the people who are watching or going to watch or will watch sometime in the future?
Well, one of the things that when I think about your initiative and what you're trying to accomplish, I think about, we as people, my thing, I think we as people, we're very tribal,
Mm,
and I think that's why a lot of these companies get kind of, heavy with one color or one
mm,
whatever, because people, they they cling to what they're comfortable with and what
yep,
they know,
yep,
so um, if you grew up this way, or you watch these TV shows, or you play this sport, or you listen to this type of music, if you're not conscious of that, if you're in a leadership position, you're going to hire everybody that do what you do because that's what you're comfortable with.
yep,
So, and as a leader and as a manager, you're doing the company an injustice because it's only one way of thinking,
mm, mm,
because you're comfortable. You don't want to be uncomfortable.
yep,
So, I want to challenge people to uh, to be uncomfortable and
yep,
to know that it's okay to accept consider another thought, or someone that doesn't listen to the same music you listen to,
mm-hmm,
or it doesn't mean that this person is foreign. It just means that, hey, we're different,
yep,
but you put that goal out there, just like in sports, you put that goal that we can accomplish the same goal, and then we can tighten up the processes by utilizing our different ideals. So I think that, you know we just need to get away from being so tribal.
mm,
It's not even about race. I think it's more or less about tribal, sticking to what you're comfortable with.
mm,
um, the other thing is you hear it all the time, all these motivational whatever. Believe in yourself. uh, be persistent.
mm, mm,
You don't have to be the smartest, you don't have to be the most talented, but if you believe in yourself, you work hard, and you keep coming, and you keep coming, I believe in the universe will open up the positive energy, and then you will begin to attract what you need to attract, because people, they will feel that energy. If you go about being negative all the time, if you go about uh, then you're going to attract negative people, and you're going to get negative energy, and people can feel that energy. But
yes,
if you believe in yourself, and you work hard, and you're persistent, and you keep coming, and you keep coming, I mean, good things happen. I don't know how it happens, but I'm a living testimony. It happens. Because some people say, "Hey, how does that happen? How did he do that?" I
yep,
get that a lot.
mm,
I might not. He ain't the best this or that or whatever. How did he do it?
yep,
Well, my energy is good, and I keep coming.
yep,
And I keep coming, and I think that's you got to find a workaround. And you also, the other thing that I learned early on in the company is that you have to find allies in the company, people
mm,
that will uh, sing your praise, because your immediate manager, I mean, again, we're human. They might not like you because for some reason you might look like somebody that did something to them, or you might, or whatever, but it's something that won't let them like you or
mm,
whatever.
mm,
And they can go and say, that Michael, he's this and that, but it's just something about him. But if you build allies throughout the company, other people will stand up for you and say, hey, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's not the guy I know.
yep,
So now you got an advocate in the room. So you always need to have other people in your company that can sing your praise, and you do that just by building those allies. So
mm, mm.
those are some. I know it's more than three, but
No, that
those,
was. I think you're spot on with that, Mike. At least when I was counting, and what at least I was counting. Let me rephrase what I heard. Get uncomfortable, right? And a lot of us do tend to stick with things that we know, especially when it comes to people. We hire the people that we know, people who are similar to us, but that's not diversity, right? And you have to really, break that tribalism.
Mhm.
Two, believe in yourself and be persistent. Part of believing in yourself is knowing that you're going to hold yourself accountable to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish.
Right.
And when you are and you have belief in yourself, you're confident. You're
Hmm.
very, very, very confident, and it shows. It shows the
Right.
people. But not only that, be persistent. Persistent. Continue to push for the things that you want. Don't give up. You get a no. Continue on. Continue on. Continue on. And last, what I thought I heard too, Michael, was have allies. And what I think about having allies is just having a network that supports you and
Right.
know who you are and know what you can accomplish. Because those are going to be the people that continue to help you out throughout your career and your life. So, no, I think those were fantastic points, Michael. I like to have people share their information just in case people want to get a hold of you. So if people wanted to follow Michael, you mentioned earlier in the show that you have an Instagram and you post videos and you're gonna post your New Year's resolutions. Where can they find you? Where can they find you on social media, or how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, on IG you can find me at no fear underscore Lee.
Okay, I'll make sure that I get that into the video. You're probably going to get a couple of subscribers, especially after me telling everybody you got a 4.7% body fat, man.
I'm
And
trying to
repeat,
get.
what's that, Mike?
I say I'm trying to get there.
So repeat that one more time. You said no fear
Underscore
underscore
Lee.
Lee. Okay, got it. Awesome, awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching this show and supporting the podcast. And not only that, supporting Black Heights. I want to thank you again, Michael, for jumping on the platform and really telling your story because it can relate to many people. And, it is the beginning of a new year. It's been a long 2018. Now it's 2019. I have to make sure that I don't, when I write in dates, I make sure it's 2019. But it's the third day of 2019. I'm looking forward to a wonderful year. So, hold, people watching, hold yourself accountable to if you have New Year's resolutions or things that you want to accomplish in life in 2019. Hold yourself accountable to accomplish those goals or those plans. And you're going to see that you're going to grow, right? If you hold yourself accountable for those things. I'm going to hold myself accountable for what I spoke about. And, the month of January, going on a detox and, reading double the number of books that I had last year and, hopefully advancing in my career. And not only that, building Black Heights even further. So you have somebody who's has goals that if you want to follow them, you can join our the Black Heights newsletter, or continue to watch our podcast and support, and you'll see how I'm tracking to some of those goals as well too. So I'd like to thank you again, Michael, for joining. Thank you for the folks who are in the chat, and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much, guys.
Sounds
Talk to you
good.
later.